Hey guys, this is a tutorial on how to install NFL 2K25 on your Android device. You will not need a PC for this. This is intended for those who only have Android and are reliant on nothing else. You will need about 18 gigabytes of space to get everything going. Once it's installed, you'll need like 10 to 12 gigabytes, so just keep that in mind. I have everything that you need to have except for the ISO linked below. The ISO is something you'll have to rip yourself. If you don't have a copy of the PS2 ROM, you can make one yourself. They do sell the DVDs on eBay, 10-15 bucks. You can rip it with image burn. If you have the disc but you don't have a DVD drive or something, vimm.net, they do have a copy there, but I do not recommend downloading it illegally. You should at least have your own copy. You're also going to need the emulator itself. NetherSX2 1.9 is the latest version. I have that linked below. You're going to need Zarchiver to move the files into the memory card folders. These are not accessible with most file managers. So Zarchiver is what you're going to use for that. You're going to need a PS2 BIOS. I have that linked with the archive. And you're going to need a memory card. There is a memory card in the mod itself if all you need is the most recent rosters. If you want all the rosters from 1970 to the present, I have that linked below in my media file. I created an all-in-one. There's actually three options here. There's all-in-one, all-in-two, all-in-four. The all-in-two is split up into 2 memory cards, and the all-in-four is split up into 4 memory cards, so your load times aren't as bad. And obviously you're going to need the mod itself. You're going to want to download the Xbox version. The Xbox version doesn't have any exe to deal with. It's just the textures, and that's what we need. So getting started, we need to install Zarchiver. Let's go ahead and go into the Play Store and do that if you haven't already. Once you get that done, we're going to go ahead and unzip the BIOS so we can access that within the emulator. And then let's go ahead and open up the emulator itself. So once we get the emulator open, we're going to want to import one of the BIOSes. I like the 7, the one that starts with the 7, that's the EU BIOS. You can select whatever you want. Once you're done with that, select the game folder where your NFL 2K5 ISO is done, and then we're ready to move our textures over. We should have our folders created within the emulator folder. So let's go back into Zarchiver, and now we're going to go ahead and open up that NFL 2K25 zip file, and we're going to view it and navigate inside the mod folder, inside the texture folder. The SLUS folder is what we're going to want to copy. So we're going to go ahead and select that, or press down on it, hold down on it, copy that. Then we're going to go to the internal storage in our device, go to Android, go to Files, go all the way to the bottom. xyz.AetherSX2.Android is what we want. You're going to go inside of your textures folder, and we're going to paste that SLUS folder in there. It's going to take a minute for that to copy over, but once that's done, we can go ahead and move the mods around how we please. So just a quick explanation of how the emulator reads the mods. It's going to read whatever is alphabetized first. So if you have like your CBS in an A folder, Fox broadcast in a Z folder, the CBS folder is what's going to read. So what we want to do is set it up to where only the mods that we want to work are going to work. All right. The Z all folder is your foundational folder. That folder should be untouched, and your portraits should stay the same as well. Okay, but the broadcast folder and the ZGME folder, those are the mods that we don't want necessarily to be running all the time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move those outside of the replacement folder. I'm going to start with the broadcast folder. We're going to go inside there. We're going to move the inactive folder, cut it, and then paste it. I'm going to rename the inactive folder to broadcast. I'm going to do the same with the CGME folder, cut that, paste that outside of it. And now we can go ahead inside replacement and delete the broadcast folders. So now anything you want to copy over into that active GME folder will work as a mod. But before we do that, there's 2 more files that I actually included below, linked below, that we're going to be able to move into to use as well. I have my classic broadcast mod if you want to use that with classic rosters, and I have the PlayStation 2 buttons because with this being the Xbox mod, it does not include PlayStation 2 buttons. So we're going to go ahead and move that over into the file, into the SLUS folder. And then whatever we want to activate, we'll just move over to our active GME folder. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, So now that that's done, we're going to want to copy our memory card. So let's go back to wherever we downloaded everything, go inside the 2K all folder, copy that. We're going to go back to the emulator folder, AetherSX2 folder, and then we'll get into memcards and copy it there. All right, so now we're done moving files around. Let's go ahead and get into the app and finish setting it up. So one quick thing I want to explain, there's app settings and there's game settings. The app settings are your foundational settings. Your game settings overrule that. In the game, if you back out of it, it's going to show the hamburger icon, the 3 horizontal lines, and the gear icon. The hamburger icon is the overruling game settings. The gear icon is your default settings. So if you have something set up in your gear icon default settings, your app settings, it's not going to work if your game settings is said something else. So just keep that in mind, because I've had a lot of questions on that. We're going to go ahead and go into the app settings. I'm going to disable notifications. We're going to change the turbo speed up to 300%. You'll need this to get through this all-in-one memory card folder that we're going to show you. So we're going to crank that sucker up. Let's go ahead and get out of there. And now let's go into game settings. I'm going to do that through the properties. So I'm going to highlight it, go to properties, and then cycle rate 60%, and then cycle skip. That's up to you. If it's running slow, move that up. It's gonna frame skip. It will look a little stuttery, a little choppy. Not stuttery, but choppy. But it will make your game run faster. A multi-threaded VU1 should already be on default, but I would select it on just in case. Same with instant VU1. GPU renderer, that needs to be Vulcan. Upscale multiplier, again, up to you, depending on your device. If you can handle more, you can check that up. If you can't, put it down. I have it at 3. Mipmapping absolutely needs to be off. The textures will glitch if it's on with this mod. Texture preloading, set that to full. That is important because it makes things run smoother. The aspect ratio, that's up to you. If you don't mind the black bars and you want it square, put it at 16:9. If you don't want any black bars, you can stretch it. I have it at stretch. And then the aspect ratio for FMV, that needs to be at 16:9. Vertical stretch, I go to 109% because I stretched mine. If you put yours on 16:9, then you're not going to stretch it. And if you stretch it, you want to crop your top at 8 pixels. Let's go to memory card, and we're going to select the memory card 2K all. This is going to get the all-in-one memory card going. Now that we have that set up, let's go ahead and load the BIOS. We're going to go into the BIOS itself, the PS2 BIOS. I'm going to go ahead and back out and change my touchscreen controls to the dual. That way I can get all the controls. Here we go. And now let's go ahead and get that to 16:9 aspect ratio. Okay, so now that that's done, let's go ahead and get into the game. So we'll do that, and then when I start the game up, we're going to back out and toggle frame limiter. This is gonna fast forward through the menus and everything. That all-in-one memory card takes a long time to load if you don't have this turned on. And there's a way around this loading screen through save states. So I'm going to demonstrate that real quick. So once we get into this, we're going to go ahead and load up a file. But before we do that, I'm going to save my state once I'm in this screen. And now, from now on, I can just skip all this stuff. So I'm going to back out of it, exit the game, go back into the game, load the state, boom, now I'm right back where I was. To get playbooks to work, you need to load the rosters first. Load the rosters first, then the playbooks. Whenever you load a new roster, it's going to delete whatever playbooks you loaded in. So I'm going to play Bears and Packers. I'm going to go ahead and load the main roster, the 24-25 roster, and then I'm going to go down and select the playbooks, Bears and the Packers. Alright, so now that that's done, we can go ahead and load a game up. We should see that CBS broadcast that we copied over. So that's pretty much it, guys. This is how you set it up. If you have questions, feel free to join the Discord mod and ask questions there. You can leave a copy below as well. I'll try to answer whatever I can. I did not create this mod. I am not part of the mod team. I've made small contributions, but nothing major. And I just want to say all credit goes to the original creators. This is an amazing project. It's years in the making. Same goes for the rosters. I compiled this stuff. I renamed it to make it congruent. but all this stuff was made by dozens and dozens of people with thousands of hours put together. So a lot of work has gone into this, and I appreciate everybody that's contributed, whether great or small. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord, and thanks for watching and enjoy the game.